Of him being a Kenyan. Funnily, I heard a story earlier on today that because his father is Kenyan, he could, sometime in the future, if he wanted to, get a Kenyan passport. And who knows, he might even run for Kenyan president one day when he retires from the US.
I think that's a bit optimistic, Peter. And apparently there's billboards lining the route from the airport saying things like, "Welcome home, Mr. President," and President, welcome back to your Tusker country.
Yeah, I would imagine the security machine for the president arriving in Kenya at this time, particularly given the security sensitivities of the country, must be enormous. When he came to South Africa, you'll remember there was a lot of security surrounding President Obama and his details. So I would imagine that it's probably times 10 arriving in a country that already has those security concerns of its own.
We're just waiting for some movement now. The door is open, but we're not seeing too much movement, waiting for US President Barack Obama to come out and walk down those stairs.
Yeah, I'm sure that the media inside Kenya is probably just a buzz now with all kinds of images and pictures. We saw one earlier on, of course, on our own bulletin with Uhuru Kenyatta standing side by side with President Obama, and I'm sure they're going to try and get as much, how can I say, political mileage from this visit as they can.
I'm sure they're going to be talking about it for years to come.
All right, as we say, we're still waiting to see there he goes.
There we go.
There is Barack Obama, the President of the United States, running down the stairs like Kenneth Kaunda does as he arrives in Kenya. First time as President of the United States.
Historic visit, historic moment for the Kenyans as they welcome the US President to their country.
And he's being met at the foot of the stairs by, it looks like, the Kenyan President himself, Uhuru Kenyatta, and I'm sure they're going to be having quite a lot of chats during the course of the next 2 days. But these images are pretty significant for Africa, as we welcome an African-American president with very strong ties to the continent through his father, just being greeted there by a young Kenyan girl. And I'm sure shortly we'll probably see the First Lady. Let's hope that she'll be coming down shortly. But there's Uhuru Kenyatta greeting the president, the two counterparts, beginning the visit on the continent for President Obama.
A very friendly, cordial greeting, I might add.
Yeah, so he's being introduced obviously to Kenyan ministers and other high-ranking officials, and looks like somebody from the army as well. And he'll do a lot of that over the next couple of days. But one thing that President Obama is well known for is his speeches and his oratory skills. And I'm sure that when he addresses the Kenyans, they'll be looking forward to hearing his thoughts, and probably would look forward to hearing something about his feelings towards his father's country and his own country in terms of ancestry.
And of course, the streets of the Kenyan capital were empty on Friday ahead of the visit. There was lots of security operations and massive sweeps that took place. And of course, at one stage, the Kenyan government was demanding an apology from an American news channel because they described Kenya as being a hotbed of terrorism. So Kenyans reacting to that, they were taking to social media to vent their frustration and their anger, saying that all African countries have problems and they shouldn't be singled out.
All right, so there again, these are the first pictures. We're carrying live pictures for you from Nairobi in Kenya. President Barack Obama beginning his African tour. And as we were saying, in a couple of days, he's going to be addressing the African Union. But today is Kenya's day as they welcome one of their own, Barack Obama Jr. And I wonder, when he came to Kenya the last time, he was, I think, he hadn't even become a senator at this stage, and he wrote a couple of books since then. But he could not have imagined then that he would come back one day as one of the most powerful presidents, if not the most powerful president on the continent. So it's a big moment for him personally, I guess, but Kenyans will be loving this particular moment in time to have their own son standing on their own earth.
A day and a visit that will go down in the history books. Of course, excitement has been building up in Kenya for weeks now, with the visit painted as a major boost for the country's position as an African hub, something that has taken a battering in recent years due to terrorism, Al-Shabaab attacks and political violence that landed Kenyan leaders in the International Criminal Court. We were reflecting on that earlier, and it's going to be interesting to see exactly how Barack Obama is going to handle or tackle these tough issues like terrorism and gay rights.
Yeah, Kenya has always been a supporter and helped America with security challenges on the continent, because obviously a lot of these extremist groups have found bases on the continent, and America has always found it very important to have allies on the continent, but it has come at a cost for Kenya, as we've seen the bombings, as you were saying, across the country, particularly in Nairobi over the years. But they haven't wavered, and I think Kenya has remained firm and it's seen as a very, very important ally in East Africa for the United States.
And as we said earlier, Kenyans are waiting to see how they're going to benefit, perhaps economically and financially, from this visit. And I think ordinary Kenyans have already benefited to some extent, because there's been a huge cleanup campaign in Nairobi, including the filling of potholes, the sweeping of streets, the repainting of faded road markings, and the laying of new pavements on a once muddy sidewalk.
All right, it looks like President Obama is signing something. We'll try and get a handle on what that particular document is. I'm sure that it's not his visa being checked by the president, but certainly something quite important that they would do it on the tarmac straight from the plane. But we'll find out for you what that particular document is. But they seem
Peter
to be
Ndoro and his immigration jokes. Perhaps it's the visa application or the passport that is going to be sought after soon.
It does seem that they're having quite a moment there. You know, President Obama is well known for his one-liners and his jokes, and I'm sure that him and President Kenyatta will probably share a few candid moments over the next couple of days. But we'll find out what that signing is all about in a short while for you, and keep you up to date. But it does seem something quite important, signing with his famous left hand, President Barack Obama. He's beginning his visit on the continent, starting with his, I guess, ancestral home of Kenya.
The two main newspapers carried the simple headline, and help me, I hope I'm saying this right, Karibu Obama, yes, meaning welcome Obama in Swahili.
Yes, indeed, Karibu, Karibu. That's. I wonder if there will be. He'll probably hear a lot of these things. A lot of this is familiar to him because he has visited Kenya and his relatives. There's a big relationship with his sister that has been well documented over time. So a lot of this is not new to him, but what will be new is traveling as a president and being received more widely, I think, by Kenyans than ever before. But he's seen all of this before. This is home for him in many respects, and I'm sure that when he goes to his traditional village, there's going to be a buzz of excitement even there to see his relatives that are still living. His father, of course, died a few years ago, and Barack Obama himself didn't have much of a relationship with his father. His father left his family when he was just 2 years old, and this is something that's always been important to him over his life, saying that because of that, and I think he was speaking on Father's Day last year, he was saying that he wanted to be a better father because he didn't have that opportunity with his own father. But that's not going to detract from, I think, the importance of visiting his father's village to see his other relatives in the next few days. And
we're just hearing that what you saw President Barack Obama signing was in fact a visitor's book.
Ah, there you go. All right. So the motorcade is about to take him off, and I'm sure that there'll be some kind of dinner either tonight or tomorrow, some kind of official banquet that will be taking place. But this is certainly historic for the Kenyans, East Africans, and our continent at large. And it'll be interesting to see just exactly what will be written about in the coming days about this historic visit.
Okay, and he will be chauffeured in that limousine that you're seeing. It's dubbed the Beast because it's bomb-proof at a cost of 1.5 million.
Wow. I think we've seen that vehicle in South Africa, and there's more than one of them, because obviously they don't want people to know which one is which and which one he's in. I'm told that the operations are quite remarkable. They talk about 10,000 police officers that are going to be involved in this. They've been deployed to make sure that everything is safe in the capital. And that's something in the order of about a quarter of the total police force. That just give you an idea of just how serious this operation is that's taking place. It's security big.
Yes, it's a huge security operation, security both visible and invisible rather, in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. Major roads have been closed and US military planes have been patrolling the skies.
Well, as you were saying earlier, I think a lot of cleaning up as well, and that often happens quite across the continent, where roads are cleaned and buildings painted, just to make it really sort of aesthetically pleasing to him.
And we're just hearing information that the security detail has played a major part in the fact that Barack Obama will actually not be visiting his father's grave on this visit.
That is significant. As we were saying, you know, this is a difficult relationship that he had. He, I believe, last saw him when he was 2 years old. So he grew up without his dad, his mother, very strong figure in his life. And he's always said that because of that, he placed a lot of importance in becoming a good father himself. But I think he has a lot of love for his relatives that are in that village. Again, a lot of talk about this visit, and you'll see the many pictures in the coming days, and we'll be covering this story for you on our 24-hour news channel on SABC.